Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the For Your Scenes Fire American Soccer Show. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup Matchday Review Show number 15. We're reviewing all the games from groups D, E, and F. And once again, my co-host tonight, Michael Martinez from Cascadia FC, as we're going to try to pick up the pieces from the USA game and other games as well. We have our guest tonight. Joining us later on. I have to come down a little bit because of that intense USA Turkiye game. Some of the players that were picked for this one, obviously, it was a full changeover going from the A team to the B team.
9 changes.
Yep, 9 changes. Still questioning a certain person or two, but
4.
Yeah, 4, definitely 4. But I think we do have some answers for whoever does come off the bench in a substitution role is pretty darn good. I'm hoping Austin Trusty will be okay, but man, oh man, when you thought you had the point and then you drop it. And, there's only so much blame you can throw around in this one, but, you also have to say you didn't expect certain results today, like Ecuador defeating Germany and actually getting in a la what South Africa did to South Korea. And, we got to say goodbye to Curacao, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. But still, though, they fought to the bitter end, and they really showed a lot of chutzpah in their final group stage match today. What else did you see today that really got your eye here, Michael?
Honestly, it was the Japan-Sweden game. I was watching that one quite a bit. It was just a fun, especially that second half was a lot of fun between both teams really going at it. You could tell Sweden really, really wanted it, and they would not let the foot off the gas. And I expected either team to get a result. It could have gone either way the entire game, and I'm just glad that we got an entertaining draw.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really entertaining. And when Sweden got the equalizer, I was like, oh my God, it's game on. And I really thought they're going to find a way to really, just find a way to maybe get that winner and sneak it in somehow. But it didn't happen. And they had themselves a great result. Tunisia, fell on their sword again. Another own goal.
Yeah.
Just another own goal. What are you going to do? They just keep on finding ways to shoot themselves in the foot. And I mean, look, they were heading home anyway. It didn't really matter. All the Dutch needed was a couple of goals and just hold on to their top position in their group, and that was it. Nothing more, nothing less. And they, the Netherlands advances and Tunisia moves on. But outside of those games, it's been pretty good, actually. I have to admit, these games have been very exciting to watch. And you're thinking we might have gotten a couple of snoozers, but let's be fair. They've been pretty good so far in the final group stage games of the simultaneous games going on.
I mean, yeah, everyone's fighting. Even if they're out of the tournament going into this, they were fighting for pride. And we saw that today with Turkiye. I mean, these teams, they don't want to go out losing so poorly. Or doing so poorly, like being so consistently poor, like Tunisia was all tournament. But I mean, it's the whole tournament has been fantastic. There's been maybe 2 or 3 games that have been snooze fests that are kind of rough to watch. But other than that, every single one has been super fun. And a lot of them are really fun to look back on. If you rewatch some of the highlights, I think every neutral fan should be doing that for some of these big games.
I agree. I'm getting a little sick and tired of all the negative Nancy's on social media complaining about, why did this happen? Why did that happen? This is a farce and everything that's going on. But no, it's been really good. It's really been good. And like I said, I am not upset. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I really think we've gotten some fantastic entertainment from the first match day all the way up till now. And we have two more of these this Friday and Saturday before we get to the round of 32 on Sunday. And this is going to be exciting.
It really is. I mean, as we inch closer and closer to that round of 32, I just get more and more excited as we get on. Like the knockouts bring a completely different type of energy, regardless of who's playing and who's not. Like I like this upcoming Bosnia and US game. People are already writing off Bosnia, but like it's a knockout game, and literally anything can happen. A Curacao can knock out Germany in a knockout game. Like it's not knockout football is the best, most entertaining form to watch.
I agree. And listen, you cannot ignore the fact that while, okay, maybe Bosnia is not at the top level of where Spain is or where Germany is, but the truth is there's still a very difficult side to break down. They really are. And you really got to be careful. I mean, I watched some of the stuff from CBS Sports Golazo, and Mike Grella broke it down pretty nicely, talking about what to expect from the Bosnians. But still, it doesn't mean anything. Magnet board, marker board. Moving around the little dots to see who the defenders are, where the midfielders are going to be, the strikers, the goalkeeper, and blah blah blah. They still have to go out there and perform on the pitch, because you don't win these games on the magnet board or on the marker board or the chalkboard or whatever you have. You got to go out there and you got to perform at your best. And that's what we are asking from this U.S. men's national team, to perform at their best. Pardon 100%. Me.
And I think the biggest issue the U.S. could face is going to be like just physicality that Bosnia will bring, especially like in that final third. Whoever's playing up top, like I'm sure Chris Richards and Alex Freeman will be just fine. Tim Ray will do just fine as well. But I mean, it's going to really depend on the midfield battle for me.
Yep.
And I feel like the U.S. was losing that today, minus Berhalter. But I mean,
yes.
And Turkiye kind of gave a blueprint. I mean, like I said, this U.S. team was the B team. Like, let's be honest. Like,
yeah,
I think like 7 out of these 9 players who played today are not going to see the field for the rest of the tournament. Nor should they.
No.
And if you take this with a grain of salt, but I mean, Turkiye kind of showed a blueprint how you can break down this team, starting with the midfield. And it's obviously the starters will bring a completely different dynamic and different style of play, but it's still something to kind of keep an eye on.
I agree. And the way that I think, the way the U.S., once it got that opening goal in the 3rd minute, you saw them, slowly breaking down on themselves. And I think that's the big problem that the B team players had. They broke down by themselves. They lost concentration. They got a bit lackadaisical. And at the same time, give credit to the Turks, because they decided to all of a sudden, we can't have this happen to us again, like against Australia, like against Paraguay. We have to go out there. We have to, show some of our muscle. We have to be physical. We have to do. And I'll say this for the Turkish head coach. I'm sorry. Do you really have to be overly animated in your technical area the way that he was on every single foul against his team? I mean, come on. Really?
Really? Going to do that, though.
Yeah. It's always the U.S. It's always going to be the U.S. That's all I can tell you.
I mean, Vincenzo Montella, he's an animated guy. He's going to do that. He's Italian, so I mean, you're kind of expect that.
Yeah.
But I want to give credit to Turkey.
No, of course.
They changed their style of play in this game.
Yep.
They've been playing kind of that standard 4-2-3-1.
Yep.
Kind of leading up to this and the first opening 2 games, which they created plentiful chances. It was like 63 shots.
Yep.
But unfortunately 13 on target in the first 2 games. And this game they switched it up to a 3 at the back system, and I feel like if they would have played this style and with this much intensity in opening 2, we would be having a completely different conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot argue with that. Let's go ahead and bring in our first guest, of course. This gentleman is from the island of Curacao, Curacao Football News. Tito Rodriguez rejoining us tonight. And first things first, Tito, listen, look, we're not going to sugarcoat anything here, but it was a great run for Curacao in their first ever World Cup. Got your first World Cup goal, got your first World Cup point. Obviously, it was tough sledding against the Ivory Coast, but without a doubt, that national team in the Caribbean, that your Dutch island, really showed a lot of promise, a lot of heart, and they should be heading home with their heads held high.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a ride. It's been a heck of a journey, seeing this team at one point going from struggling to win a game to winning games, qualifying for the World Cup, going up against teams that normally we never would. It's been a great journey, and like even today's game is not something I would be upset about because at no point were we outplayed by the Ivory Coast. There was
No,
no point where we looked down and out. Like even when you look at the statistics, like we outshot the Ivory Coast today. It's the first game like we have outshot an opponent like this much stronger than us. So yeah, I think this is a performance and just a journey to be very proud of.
100%. I mean,
absolutely.
you guys created so many quality chances as well on top of that, especially against a really strong Ivory Coast defense. I just have to commend Curacao this entire tournament. They are one of those Cinderella stories that you want to keep watching and see there's a sequel.
I mean, like yeah, we created a bunch of chances in this game, like. But the only problem really for us was, yeah, that final pass was really never there. And for a lot of these attacks, or well, most of them, a lot of the times the player that was carrying the attack forward didn't really have any support in the player to pass the ball to. So, yeah, that was really our main problem. But it's a great performance. We learned a lot, and now we will just have to look forward to like Nations League.
Yeah,
Do you think we'll
exactly.
see? Sorry to
No,
interrupt
go
you,
ahead.
Dan. Do you
That's
think
right.
we'll see a lot of this older guard kind of phased out as we go into Nations League and further World Cup qualifying for 2030?
The biggest question mark has been Eloy Room. Leandro Bacuna is a player who to date show that hey, we still need him in that midfield to run things. But Eloy Room has been the biggest question mark because like we're not sure if he's going to stay. There were rumors that he would return to the national team only to retire after the World Cup cycle from the team, but like we're not still so sure about him. It's something that's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see new younger call-ups, but it's going to be a question mark on who is going to be dropped from the team. I think Brantley Kuas is the most likely player to be dropped from the team. Joshua Brenet was a player that I thought at first would probably be dropped from the team, but after his two performances against Ecuador and the Ivory Coast, I highly doubt it. So it's going to be interesting to see.
And obviously, going back to the coaching, obviously Dick Advocat has just done a sensational job of getting Curacao to where they are now. I mean, look, Vicente, long time ago, he started this whole thing at a Gold Cup many, many years ago, putting Curacao on the map, kind of like what John Herdman did for Canada until they brought over Jesse Marsh. Now you have Advocat with Curacao. I mean, is it still a question mark that he may leave now that this whole ride is over with, or do you think he's going to remain maybe till the end of this up and coming international calendar in the fall when you get to the Nations League?
Yeah, it's really a thing of like we have to give props to Vicentini. He was really good for his time, and he had us pushing far above our weight. But like he was a coach that to take that next step, we had to move on from him.
Of
But
course.
as for Advocat, it's a real question mark on him because he was brought back solely for the World Cup. like his contract expires after the final.
Hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see whether he stays or not. He himself, when he was asked whether or not he plans to extend his contract, he laughed and said he doesn't know. He
Hmm.
doesn't know what he's gonna do. And it's interesting because like I find it difficult to see him leaving this team because,
Hmm.
well, if you've watched the games, you'll see like he's very emotionally tied with to these players. Like he was crying across all three games. Like it's something that's going to be extremely interesting to see because even like these players, they view him as like this father figure. So I think the players would want him to stay. It's just going to be interesting to see if he wants to stay.
No, of course. I mean, that's going to be the most difficult decision for the island and for the federation. Look, I hope he does. If not, then obviously the other question is this: if Advocat does say I'm done, do they look for another Dutch coach, or do they try to find someone from within the region of CONCACAF to come over and to try and give a different spark? Maybe someone like a Jesse Marsh, or maybe someone like what Bruce Arena did for the U.S. men's national team. Is that a possibility?
The most difficult thing with bringing in a Dutch coach is that, truth be told, Dutch coaches are not that good. They don't tend to be that good. Advocat is a one generation kind of coach that the Netherlands produces. But to bring in a coach, especially from this region, it's a huge gamble because you don't know how that coach is going to be and if the coach even fits the team style. And one of the biggest problems is that a lot of these players aren't that good at English at all. So it becomes a problem even if you bring in a Spanish speaking coach, none of these players speak Spanish, they can't speak English, there's no middle ground here. So it's just extremely difficult. So I likely see them sticking with just hiring Dutch coaches for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Go ahead,
I can't
Michael.
expect that. I mean, Arne Slot is available, so I mean, why not
Whoa,
put in a
whoa,
bid
whoa,
for him?
whoa, 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 whoa! Hold your horses.
Hey, now he hasn't accepted a job in Netherlands yet. You never know. You never know.
Go for it.
Oh, maybe, and you never know. The problem is with like these Dutch coaches right now is like which one of them really has any experience at the international level.
That's very true. At the moment, you would have to say Louis van Gaal is the only one because he didn't manage the Netherlands in Qatar 4 years ago. Outside of him, who else can do it? And here's the other question too. I mean, unless you have a youth coach, will they promote someone from within Curacao to take over as the senior coach, or will you take a youth coach from the Netherlands and bring him to Curacao?
You know, it's extremely interesting. I want to first touch on that Louis van Gaal thing. Louis van Gaal was actually the very first coach that FFK approached back in 2023 to become our coach. He straight up denied it because he didn't believe in the project. He said, "We won't make the World Cup, so why would he join?" And the interesting thing is that Advocat was never actually a candidate. He himself personally reached out to the federation to become the coach. That's something a lot of people don't know, which is
Wow.
extremely interesting because someone of his caliber reaching out to coach us is unexpected.
Wow, that I did not know. That is amazing. He actually reached out and said, "I want to give it a shot." That is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, because when it was brought to his attention that Curacao were looking for a coach, he immediately jumped on the opportunity. He was never a candidate because everyone thought he was retired, and he was like, "Hey." He personally contacted the federation president and board and was like, "Hey, I'm available if you guys want me. Let me know." And yeah, that's how that part went. As for youth coaches, though, the main problem is that in Curacao there are
Yeah.
only 2 or 3 licensed coaches, and only 2 of them are licensed to be able to coach a national team without facing any fines.
Wow.
And as for just youth coaches in the youth national team, the only one properly licensed is Dean Gorey, Kenji Gorey's father,
Oh,
former interim head coach. But like Dean Gorey has like a lot to do because like he coaches the under 20s, the under 17s. He's also the
jeez.
sporting director, and he runs the entire youth national team system.
Wow.
So he's already booked and busy.
Yeah, along with also being Dick Advocat's assistant. So the
Jesus.
guy is booked.
Wow. That
Really
I mean,
is
right
at that point,
unreal.
then you can start looking at the Dutch assistants. Like,
now.
I mean, I think for me, obviously, I don't know much about the Curacao like system and how it all works. Just some basically what I've seen and how I've seen this coach do at club level. But Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's currently assistant for the Netherlands in this tournament. He has first team coaching experience in the Netherlands. I mean, it could work out if they decide to try and go that route at least.
I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, Ruud van Nistelrooy is. I mean, like, when you look at him, if you just look at what he did in the Premier League, you're like, oh, there's nothing much there. But when he was the head coach at PSV, like, PSV were very dominant under him. Like,
Mhm.
he has it, and he knows a lot of Curaçaoan players as well that play in the Netherlands who could still play for Curacao. So it would really be something interesting. But it's whether or not he will want to, because the truth is, if you take the Curacao job, you have to accept the fact that you're probably going to be taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, you're going to have to do that. I mean, it's not the best thing, but look, they need a head coach. The big question right now is Advocat leaving for good, or will he decide to remain and be there so for another cycle? So we'll see what happens. But like we said already, this Nations League coming up, I think they're going to be in League A this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting who they're going to be drawn with in either Group A or Group B. But still, look, you can definitely say Curacao has really upped their profile a lot. I mean, a lot. There's still good players on this team. I think Tia Chung is going to be something special. The Bakuna brothers are tremendous, and Komen Nemencia is still a damn good attacking player. I know he's a defender club wide, but he's still a good attacking player.
Yeah, like there's still a lot in this team because the team is easily is a mix of veteran and young players. So it's going to be interesting come Nations League to see how we perform. I think for Nations League, we're going to have to push for like the quarterfinals at minimum. After
Yes.
like all this experience, the only problem is that we have to really fix our finishing. Defending, we've shown in the last 2 matches in the group that hey, the defense is not a problem. We got to fix everything up top though. That's really what we have to work on. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see at least, especially if Advocat stays. If Advocat leaves, then there might be question marks.
Yeah. That's going to be the problem, isn't it? It's damned if you do and damned if you don't. That's the problem, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, right. Right now, I think Curacao and Haiti are probably going to have the highest expectations placed on them.
Exactly.
Panama as well, because like in all honesty, Panama wasn't really outclassed in any of their 2 games. Like again, 1-0, 1-0 losses. Both goals as well coming in like literally dying minutes of the game. So
Yeah.
there's also going to be high expectations on them, but as well high expectations on like the Central American nations who we've seen in the past recent months. They've heavily started to recruit in dual nationals, especially Honduras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honduras, Guatemala, They're hiring, or they're trying to bring over dual nationals in the United States. There
Yeah,
are Guatemalan Americans. I mean, I
Jamaica as
probably
well. Like,
yeah,
we mustn't forget the Guatemalan Curaçaoan.
yes.
Yeah, they got a Curaçaoan that plays in the Netherlands right now in the youth team. He plays
Mhm.
like under 16
Oh
for
wow.
a second division club, and
Hmm.
they already have him playing in the under 23s of Guatemala.
Oh wow. Wow.
imagine if Curacao got him instead. That would have been
You,
fantastic. I mean, they
you know
still
what the
can
thing?
technically.
When I was scouting for the federation, I scouted him like 2 years ago, and I was like, "Oh, okay, here's this player who we could potentially bring into our under 15s." When we scouted him, we realized like, "Hey, he's not really much better than what we already have," so we just didn't go with him.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. That's the way, as they say, that's how the ball bounces, unfortunately. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, right now, uh, there's a Nations League coming up. And then, of course, if you do well over there, maybe you go for another Gold Cup run. You
Yeah.
have to wait and see. But definitely, you have to say all three, non co-hosts in CONCACAF did not disappoint at all.
I mean,
Maybe a little bit better in the finishing department, but as you said, defensively, they were top notch.
yeah, exactly. And it just shows how far CONCACAF is coming. Panama, again, only losing both games in the dying minute. Haiti were extremely impressive against Morocco,
Oh yeah.
also against Scotland. The
Hmm.
Brazil game, even in the Brazil game, they nearly scored.
Hmm.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting to see. Right now, I think a team that's going to have extreme pressure on them this Nations League is going to be Jamaica. So it's going to be
Oh,
interesting to see whether they crack under the pressure or
mhm.
not. And also, it's going to be interesting to see Suriname because they still haven't sorted out the passport issues they're currently having. So
Oh, I did not know that.
it's completely unknown if they're going to be using the dual nationals or local players.
Hmm.
It's a
Interesting.
whole
Very,
mess.
very interesting. It is. Yeah. But still, though, look, if Suriname can finally get over the hump and join, for the next cycle, for Curacao and Haiti, that's a win-win. That's a win for, all, not just for the Netherlands, but for all the Dutch islands in the Caribbean that are part of the Netherlands. It would be fantastic. I mean, if they didn't drop that final uh, qualifier on the road, Suriname, they would not have gone to the playoff.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're gonna have to see. It's going to be a very interesting September October window.
Mhm.
It's going to
Yep.
be a lot. Yeah, well, 4 games within 2 weeks. It's going to be great.
Yep, it will be. It's going to be exciting. Tito, as always, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks again. And, you're always more than welcome to come on the show to talk about Curacao, anything and everything when we get to international football talk. So
Yep.
good night. Hold your head up high. And by the way, one more thing real quick before we let you go. The march by the Curaçaoians in Philly was absolutely awesome.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. It surprised me too. I know there were a decent amount of people there, but I did not expect that many people. Like a huge props to the fans who showed up for us across these 3 games.
Yep, absolutely. Great job by them and great job by you. Thanks again, Tito. We'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's Tito Rodriguez, Curacao Football News. Go on Twitter to look it up his Twitter page, and you'll see everything and anything that involves him with Curacao Football News. And now we'll get back to the other Group E matchup later on. But joining us now, once again, covering Asian football national teams, AFC teams, once again, Kenta Hagiwara joining us. Kenta, let's start off first with what happened in Group F, of course. Japan and Sweden. I would say a fair result against those two sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's a I don't want to say a heavily rotated side, but it's a side that gave some of the players that played pretty significant minutes in the first matches some time off if your name wasn't Daichi Kamada. So notably, Kaishi Sano in the midfield was, I think, really missing because they didn't really have that true ball winner, and it was Ao Tanaka just kind of going into challenges and hoping he can win them all over the pitch rather than having a true ball winning six in the midfield. So I think that kind of hurt the team, and combined that with Ko Itakura having some kind of muscular injury in the first half, and him being subbed off, but he ran off the pitch. So I'm assuming it's a very minor injury. But we'll have to wait to hear what the severity is in the coming days with that. But Shogo Taniguchi replaces him in this as a center back and draws the only yellow card for Japan in the group stage, which was a surprising stat from there. Yeah, no, I think it was all right. Well taken goal by Japan as a team goal going from the back down the right with a holding up play to Doan to the finish by Daisen, who scores now in back-to-back World Cups for Japan. And then the Ilanga goal, you'd like to close off the space a bit more, but it's just a ridiculous finish. So in the same way that I think Japan, when they conceded their second goal against the Netherlands in that opening match to Somerville, you just kind of tip the cap and keep going. And I think Japan created enough chances. They just weren't able to kind of convert on all of them. Ueda wasn't as good as he was in the previous match, which you kind of can't expect him to be a 2-goal guy every single match. I thought he would come off at halftime. He didn't. Took him a bit longer before I think it was Koki Ogawa who came off the bench for him. And there's not a ton else to be. It was a very physical, very majority match in the center third of the pitch. It wasn't a ton of the ball in either final third. And neither team were really trying to take risks. I think a draw sent both teams through. So I think I know it's not just with this match, and it's with the other Asian team match as well, where there's an understanding that you just don't want to get blown out and ruin the goal differential at the end of the day. So you're playing very conservatively to a degree on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's why the result isn't as blown out as you think. I think if Japan... This was treated more like a knockout match than a group stage match, just because of the new setup of how third place teams move on. And I think if it was only a top 2 situation, this match plays out very differently.
I think that's why I like this game so much watching it. Going to it as a neutral. Like you said, it felt like a knockout match. Like both teams, they wanted to get a result, but they also were playing safe ball at the same time. They're very calculated in their counters and the way they were kind of setting up the plays.
Yeah, and I think to a degree that's why you didn't see someone like Takehiro Tomiyasu come on the pitch, because you didn't really want
need it. Yeah.
Not only did you not want to risk a guy that's very injury prone, but it's also you didn't. The game plan wasn't get your outside center backs in the back three to play as these ball dominant center backs in terms of the pass distribution, in the same way that Junnosuke Suzuki on the left side, who I highly rate, a former Shonan Billmare guy who made the move to Copenhagen last summer. They're two of the best center backs I've seen in terms of play on the ball, but you didn't see either of them come on the pitch because it's just not that kind of match. It's a very physical, very... I guess I kept saying middle of the pitch, but it's a midfield match in my eyes. It was not a match where you would be able to fully utilize the qualities that Tomiyasu would bring in. Also, again, the injury history with him, it's no surprise that someone like him didn't make the match, but Yuto Nagatomo did. So he makes his appearance for his 5th World Cup. The first Asian player to reach 5 separate World Cup appearances. So big news for him. He's 39 at this point, playing for FC Tokyo in J League, but he's a guy that's had a very storied career playing in, I guess, most notably Inter Milan. But Nagatomo, this entire cycle, kind of watching him, it was okay, when is he going to retire? When is he going to retire? When is he going to retire? And then the friendlies in the U.S. came, and he was a part of that group when they played Mexico and the U.S. And the U.S. and in those 2 friendlies in October, and I was is he really going to make the World Cup roster? And then Mitoma goes down, and so your left wing back option kind of goes down by 1 in quantity, and then the spot opens up for Nagatomo, and it's well, no, I guess he's the vibes guy. He truly is.
Did he have that Legends patch at all? Do you know if he did?
He did, yeah. He was
Okay,
one
good.
of. I know they initially said 5, but then Memo Ochoa got one too. So I think it's one of 6 players at this World Cup that have.
Good.
Because I think Ochoa originally wasn't supposed to get one.
Yeah.
Because he didn't play in the first 2 World Cups, so it was like only appearance number 4, despite being on 6 World Cup rosters. But I think I don't know if it's Adidas in FIFA or just FIFA, or I don't know who's in charge of that, but they kind of reversed their decision there. It sounds like because
probably FIFA. I don't think
his
Adidas
patch
has
yesterday.
any. I don't think Adidas has anything to do with that. They just whoever gets the golden patch gets the golden patch, and that's it.
Right, I would think so too. But I think I don't know who produces them, so because I know that all the matchday detailing goes through Adidas, like if in front of if you're an Adidas kit team, and Mexico is also an Adidas companies that are paired with Adidas. I didn't know what the exact part there is, but yeah, he said Yuta Nagatomo after the match, he was asked by a Japanese reporter what he thought of the match, and he said "Mamma Mia." So that's his summary of the match, and now I'll let the 5-time World Cup his historical appearance maker for Yuta Nagatomo, I'll let him summarize it better than probably I could.
No, exactly. But I mean, overall, a successful group stage, 5 points in 3 matches. There's nothing to sneeze at there. Japan, once again, showing why they're one of the class national teams in all of Asia.
Yeah, it's just a shame how the knockout bracket is formed, because there is no real winning situation for Japan. You finish first in this group and you play Morocco. You finish second in this group, you play Brazil. You finish third in this group, you play France. There was no winning. There was all just brutal matchups, especially for this. This is a golden generation of Japan we've talked about for a while now. And this is a Japanese national team that has never won a knockout stage match. And you have an extended format where now you have an extra round. So you think, oh, you might have an easier matchup in the first round to finally get over that hump of winning the first knockout stage match, and you're stuck against Brazil. Granted, it's not the greatest Brazil side, but it's still Brazil, So
exactly.
Yeah, it's just a brutal. It's really just, there's no other way to say it because it's absolutely brutal. And
it feels unfair.
It does, right? Because USA is playing Bosnia Herzegovina, and no disrespect to Bosnia, but they're no Brazil or Morocco or France,
no.
So it's frustrating that it's not Japan's fault that they're playing one of these top teams. They did their job by finishing in top 2. It just happens that the draw is a bit unfair in that sense.
No, it is, but still, though, I mean, they're gonna go to Houston now on Monday, June 29th. The game's at 1:00, and they got no choice but to go for it. I mean, look, I think this could be an opportunity for Japan. If they execute their game plan the way they should, I mean, there's a possibility they can sneak in and steal a result.
Yeah, I mean, last time these two teams faced, Japan won. Yeah. Granted, it was in Japan, and it was a fairly decent Brazil side. I think their midfield was pretty much the same with Paquetá, Casemiro, and Guimarães. So I think it was the same midfield. I know Vinny started. I know Martinelli started because Martinelli scored a goal. I don't remember who else started, but I don't think the back line was particularly it wasn't Gabriel in the back with Marquinhos with Alisson in goal. So that's going to be the main difference between those two matches. And then I guess Japan had Minamino starting and Kubo, and I don't really know what there's obviously Minamino's not playing, but I don't even know what Kubo's status is going into Monday. And so a little different, but we've seen this Japanese national team side the last 2 times these two teams played. They played in 2022 before the Qatar World Cup in June. I was at that match in Tokyo. They kept it close in that match, lost 1-0, and then they won most recently in October of last year. So, I mean, they've been competitive against Brazil, and it's also a Brazil side that hasn't looked the best during this World Cup so far, or I guess hasn't lived up to expectations of what we know Brazil can be, especially. So because of that, I guess there's a bit more optimism with like this could be the match, but there's that glooming shadow of the fact that Japan have, had great tournaments in the group stage and just haven't been able to get over the hump of winning in the knockouts, including matches like in 2018 where they're up 2-0 against Belgium and in 70 minutes in they concede 3 late and go out in Russia, and it hasn't ever been great for Japan in these knockout stage matches. So we'll have to see how it plays out, but not overly optimistic.
No.
Do you think if Kubo is ready to go, they'll play him? Even if it's only for a little bit, do you think they'll?
Yeah, I think they have to. You look at kind of the attacking midfield options, right? And so Junya Ito isn't 10, but he plays inside at times. Same with Ritsudo on there, kind of your right wing back options, but they can alternate. At the 10, thing kind of goes for Keita Nakamura, but you don't really have cover over there. And then Daisen Maeda, who scored the goal, who's naturally a winger or striker, and you're kind of playing him underneath, and just what he does for a majority of the match is just press. Like he's a fast guy that has an engine like no other, and so he just presses for 60 minutes and comes off. Yuita Suzuki from Freiburg broke his collarbone a month ago. He's able to play, but like against Gabriel, I kind of question where the physicality is going to be and if he's going to be able to go into all those challenges. I don't know how he holds up, and he's like a natural 10 in the same way that Kubo plays more of a 10 in the system. So I think Moriyasu obviously will be careful with the minutes there, but especially late games, if it's closer, Japan need a goal and they're trailing, I wouldn't, if he's available, like I would be surprised if he just kind of sits on the bench. The other option is to go with 2 9s. I mean, Japan again brought 5 strikers on this roster for a team that only plays with 1 striker in their system. So there's an easy rotation of, instead of playing with 2 10s and a 9, you switch to 2 9s and a 10, and just play with service from your wing backs and kind of hope someone can get ahead on the ball like Ogawa did in the opener against the Netherlands.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to move on now to Group D. We'll go with the Australian team first. Can we say gentleman's agreement with Paraguay? Because that's what it felt like this match. It felt like gentleman's agreement. Let's just knock it around a little here and there. Let's not overdo it on the challenges, and we'll just both take the draw and go home.
I think Australia had some good chances in the first half, and it was really one-sided. Second half was a bit more even, where I don't think either goalkeeper was particularly tested, but it was one-way traffic in the first half for Australia. Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like neither team was pushing aggressively to get that goal, and why would you? A draw is enough. And maybe this match changes if some team gets a goal, and now it changes the complexion of that match. But both teams, I think, were probably content with the draw. Notably, Lucas Harrington makes his World Cup debut, the Colorado Rapids 18-year-old center back.
He looked good too.
He looked great.
He did not look out of place for being 18 years old. It is wild.
No. I mean, we've seen how ridiculous he is as a talent in MLS play, and his passing range is just ridiculous. So, as a center back in particular, so he looked really good. I think he can bring a lot to this Australian team. I don't know how many minutes he gets in knockouts, but like he brings something different from a lot of like the tall, physical center backs that like Australia have in their back three. Iran Kunda back in the starting lineup. Again, you don't play him on the wing. It's mind-boggling to me. And again, Toure doesn't play this match, and so like, if you're not going to play Toure, like Tete Yengi is a tall striker that plays for Metro or played. I guess he was on loan this past year in J League. Like, give Iran Kunda a natural number 9 target to push the backline back and let Iran Kunda play on the left or the right and operate in those areas to create, instead of just having them chase long balls as a center forward. It's I don't understand what Popovich is doing there. It's a bit confusing for me.
He's using like an old school like MLS mentality. Oh, our best player, let's put him as a 9. Like it's
right.
It's like early 2000s MLS, and just I would expect more from Popovich.
Especially because it worked well when you put him on the wing in the first match, and so like the fact that you haven't replicated that in the next 2 matches is just beyond me.
It's ridiculous.
They moved on, so I guess
It worked. Their
Success.
game plan worked, whatever. Yeah.
Well, ridiculousness sometimes pops into the coach's head. Sometimes you are your own worst enemy. That's the problem. Any head coach will tell you, or not so much a head coach, but anyone that watches, doesn't matter what sport it is, you are your own worst enemy when you don't do the right thing. And that's how the U.S. got the 2-0 victory after the opening 45. That's what happened. So,
Yeah.
Popovich, he learned his lesson. He put his guys back out there who got him the goals against the Turks. And, what are you going to do? But, Australia, now they're moving on to the second round. We don't know who they're going to be facing yet. So we'll find out, of course, either tomorrow or the next day who or whom they will be facing. But right now they are already situated in the round of 32.
It's wild. Sorry,
Yep.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but who they play against next is interesting. It could be anybody from Group G.
Yes.
It could be either Egypt, it could be Iran, it could be Belgium, it could be New Zealand. Like, it all there just depends on how tomorrow night goes. And of course, the late games, they won't know anything until the very last minute.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild. Group G is insane.
Oh, no, it's fantastic, isn't it? That's what I think they wanted from this 48-team World Cup FIFA. They want to see that chaos. They wanted chaos, and they got it now. Because you don't know who the hell is going to come out of that group and face either the first position from a different group or the second position from the other group, and then which third-place team may survive or may get chalked off.
It's pure chaos. I love it.
I do wonder, in terms of like maximizing on entertainment value, if head-to-head was the best idea for a tiebreaker. It feels like even today's match day, if you were to take it out of the context and remove head-to-head, it's 6-4-4-3. The Turkey win means a bit more, and they're probably scoreboard watching the Australia match. Like it gives a bit more value to the final match day. And like I'm not the biggest fan of in a tournament when there's only 3 group stage matches that there are teams that are just kind of sitting back on the final day because they've already moved on, and there are teams that have nothing to play for. Like, of course it's bound to happen, but like you're making it significantly more likely by adding a tiebreaker of head-to-head instead of like goal differential.
Yeah, it is. All right, gentlemen, we're going to now dive into the USA match against Turkiye. 3-2 loss for the United States. But, even though Michael and I have been grumbling about some of the changes that Pochettino made, especially Miles Robinson, Matt Turner, and who else did you not want to see in that game tonight, Michael?
Joe Scally.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of. I feel like there are a lot of players in this game that were really fighting for like that 4th or 5th substitute spot for Pochettino going to the knockouts, and none of them really did anything to show that they are ready for it.
No.
And now looking back at yesterday, we were saying that we didn't want to see Matt Turner between the sticks because it didn't make sense, but seeing Mark McKenzie and Miles Robinson as a center back pairing, I can see why Matt Freese was not starting in this game.
Exactly. Because if Matt Freese was starting that game and those two are in front of him, it would have been 10 million times worse than what we saw.
Okay, I mean, his confidence would have been shot, and going into the group stage and going to the knockouts would have been a nightmare for him. Yeah,
it really would have, and we can't have that. We can't have Matt Turner's brain turn to mush. That's for sure. But it was a great game, though. That opening goal from Austin Trusty from Sebastian Berhalter's corner, the second one from the near side, how it looped over everybody, and how Trusty trapped it, softened it up when he got it, and then he just blasted it in, was fantastic. I mean, Trusty was unreal. Unfortunately, he got hurt at the back end of the match. Hopefully it's not too serious, but still, that's a hell of a goal.
It really was.
Yeah, it really was. And Kenta, what did you make of the first half of the match for the U.S. and Turkiye?
I don't understand why USA went with a different shape. To me, like that confuses me. Like, you know, um, I understand you want to get different guys on the pitch, and I'm not against that. But I feel like with this personnel, you still could have played in a similar system, and that continuity to me, I think, is more important than getting different players different minutes. I get the yellow card situation, and I'm all for it again. Like, if a player's on the yellow card, you don't want them to get a second to be suspended next match. Bench him. I couldn't care less. But moving to a 4-3-3, it to me signals that you just don't care about the result at all when you're changing a system, because you're not going to play in a 4-3-3 next match. So like, what are you gaining out of that? Especially like if we're looking at this back line, right? You're talking about Miles Robinson and Mark McKenzie as center back pairing. Center back pairing is completely different from playing in a back three. I want to see what Miles can do as a right center back or a central, like instead of playing him as in a back two. And I want to see him in the back three. I want to see how he can do progressing the ball. In the partnership with him in a right wing back, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to see that. I don't want to see a 4-back system where he has fullbacks around him. Like because that's if you're considering to bringing a center back off the bench in the next match, this means nothing. Like the play today means nothing in terms of like what did you learn? You didn't learn anything, and I thought you had like the personnel to be able to make this happen, to play a back three of Trusty McKenzie and Robinson would have worked. But instead you don't do that. And now like your takeaways are limited because you've played a completely different system from what you are going to continue to play and what you played in the past and got you success. So obviously the momentum thing is one thing. I don't care about the fact that they lost. To me, it doesn't matter because again, the result doesn't matter. And maybe it does for the fans that don't know the sport very well and they're like just getting into football and they're like, oh,
what do you mean?
They lost today, and like maybe that's a morale thing for fans, but at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters.
No, it doesn't.
What I do think, what I do think matters is like continuity in system, and there was no reason in my eyes to change that. Like we should have seen what Tim Wyatt can do at right wing back.
Yes.
That makes no sense. Truly makes no sense.
I agree. Yeah.
Like that's where you're probably going to deploy him if you're taking him off the bench. So like, why are we seeing him playing as a left winger? Like it's mind boggling to me that the decision he made. And when the lineup came out, I was like, okay, so is Joe Scally playing as a left wing back? That was where my mindset was. I was like, okay, it's going to be McKennie and Berhalter in the pivot with Aronson and Reyna as the 10s. And Pepe at the 9. I was completely under the assumption that they were going to play the same system. Yeah. And then they come out in the 4-3-3 and I'm like, what I don't get it. I like
even the build-up patterns, like they were so inconsistent compared to what we've seen the first two matches.
Yeah. Because they're obviously not training the system.
No, they're not.
You're training the system that you're playing in the other matches. So why shift? I don't get it. I truly don't get it.
No, that's exactly. I mean, I think that's a big head scratcher, and I agree. I mean, if you want to see if Miles Robinson can play in a different setup, the way you've been playing the first two games, then you got to play the same way the third game. But I will say this: it's not so much I wanted the result meant more to me. What really I wanted to see was if you're going to use these guys, and give your main starters a break and a rest and get them ready for Bosnia. And yeah, you want to see them, the backups emulate what the main guys are being used for. I personally want to see a victory, not because we beat them. No, I want to feel good about we've never swept all three games in a group stage in the World Cup. Never have done that at all. 2 wins was a big minority as well, like an anomaly. Like we haven't seen that. We've never seen that. And even though I was never born in 1930, like all of you were never born in 1930 or before 1930, that World Cup only had about 3, 6, 9, 13, 14 national teams because they only had like 2 or 3 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. I mean, yeah, of course the U.S. was going to win 3-0 over Belgium and 3-0 over Paraguay all the way back then at the start of this whole situation. I wanted to see us finally make some more history. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see our guys make more history. And I'll admit, I wanted that. But look, even if we didn't win the game, or if they drew the game, I'd be like, okay, look, chalk it off. You know, the more important game will be the next one, which will be against Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then that's when it really matters once again. So I wanted the history part of it, not so much the results. I wanted the history part of it. Didn't happen. It's okay. Did I like some of the things I saw from these guys? Yes. Did I not like some of the things that I saw? Yes. Did I think Pochettino made a grave mistake going back to a 4-3-3 when he should have stuck to what he had in the first two games? Yes. That was the wrong thing to do. But look, I just think that, you want to see these guys be a little uncomfortable. And I think that's what he should have done. If Miles Robinson is not comfortable in a three center back line, well, tough noogies. Go out there and perform in it.
Yeah, I mean, he plays in a three-back system in Cincinnati.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
And he looks good in it too, or decent enough. Like, he hasn't been that great that season, but he still looks comfortable in that back three.
No, I think it utilizes what he's good at. Like, he's a guy that is uber athletic as a center back and has good pace in terms of being able to make recovering runs. And like that's like, in my eyes, what he's best at. And that is exactly what you want from your outside center backs, right? Like, not necessarily maybe your central center back in a back three system, but from your right and left center back in a back three, you want them to be able to cover space very effectively. Mm-hmm. And he's done that well, even with a Matt Miazga as the central center back who's been kind of off after his injury, coming back from his injury, and he's showing his age and playing with, if we're being completely honest, not another center back on the other side of the pitch, whether it's like Kyle Smith playing from a right back to a center back, or you're playing a 17-year-old there, or whatever it looks like, right? Like, through that, he's played both on the right and left, and I think he's been very effective for what the team has, Cincinnati has, because their back line is just makeshift every single match because of the injuries that they have.
Yeah.
And so I would really like to see him play as when I saw him in the lineup, I was like, all right, he's going to play as a right center back or a left center back. And the fact that he did neither, to me, is just, I don't get it. And like, the same goes for Max Arston. He had a perfect opportunity to see what you have in him as a left wing back in a system that he plays in Columbus in the same way. And you just don't even play him. And so, like, if today was a gung-ho, let's see what we have from the other guys and let everyone earn their cap besides Chris Brady, because we're not going to switch goalkeepers to halftime or whatever. Like, if that was the case, then why is Arston on the bench? Like, why'd you call him up if you aren't going to ever play him? Especially with outfield players, that's beyond me. US isn't the only one, but like, if you're never going to play a player, then what was the point of them taking up a roster spot? Truly.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah.
So just lost the midfield battle completely. I mean, playing without a six, and we've seen this World Cup, when teams don't play with a natural six, you're setting yourself up to fail. Nothing is cohesive. You can't win any balls coming through. I mean, I get it. Tyler Adams is on a yellow card. Christian Roldan is hurt, but when you're playing McKennie and Berhalter, neither of which are sixes, they're more natural eights, or even closer to being tens at this point. I just think you honestly could have put in Mark McKenzie up as a six. He's done it before. Like, it's not. I just feel like the lineup choices were not made with intent to win.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I will say this though. I felt that once Turkiye was scored on, once the head coach of Turkiye was being so overly animated on anything and everything, just to wake up his players, then they started playing the way they should have. And yes, they did make that formation change, but still, though, they started the match like they were ready to go home, like they didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. They were ready to face the firing squad until Austin Trusty said, bang, it's in your net, haha. And then they were like, nope. All right, we're insulted now. Now we're going to go and get you. And even though Turkiye did some good things in the first half, second half was like the same thing again. They just let the U.S. come at them. And then finally, Berhalter, fantastic goal in the 49th minute to make it 2-2. Big golazo. And then it was, here we go again. Now it's Turkey. Oh, we got to compete again. All right, fine, we'll compete again. And they're fighting for that. They're both fighting for the go-ahead goal, which was absolutely fantastic. And then there's Christian Pulisic, ready to go and sub in. And every single fanboy and fangirl at SoFi Stadium let out a primal scream. Like, I will not say what I really want to say, but I will say this. It's like, oh my God, he's there. It's like, the greatest pop star since sliced bread is now on the Jumbotron, and he's ready to come back out there and perform.
I mean, I know the U.S. is a topic conversation right now, but I want to hype up Turkey just a little more. Arda Güler specifically, the kid is a baller. He's been good in every single game. He's been creating a million chances for this Turkey side. I mean, like I said at the start of the show, 63 shots, 13 on goal, and most of those were from just Güler's way he's able to carry the ball forward.
Yeah,
and honestly, Yilmaz up top, he's naturally a winger. Mm-hmm. When they moved, this is the second time he's moved to the center of the pitch, and he looked really, really good like that. And I think that if they would have done that from the very beginning, we'd be having a different conversation. Turkey would still be considered a dark horse, and I still think they would make it really far in this tournament because they showed that they have the quality. They just couldn't finish.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree. And the thing is that, I guess the coach went against what normally works for his national team. And for some silly reason, he didn't do it against the Australians. Well, then again, his captain had to open up his big fat mouth and, got ran over 2-0 by the Australians. They should have actually ran over the Paraguayans when Miguel Almiron pulled the whole, I'm going to cover my mouth and say something against you. And then, by the way, he'll get the red card and they're down to 10 men and Turkey couldn't do a damn thing against them. So, they deserve their fate. And, I'm not trying to be overly cruel, but the reality is this. If you would have done the setup for the first two games the way you played against the U.S., they probably would be in second place by now, and maybe Australia is trying to struggle for the third place position.
100%.
Yeah. Or Paraguay, if they were able to do it better, But still, though, it's what are you going to do? It's a situation where, like I said, sometimes the head coaches are their own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. I also want to bring up, I feel like this game for the U.S., I feel like this is one we get nitpicky. But not with the certain specifics, but mostly the players. Like you can tell in this game who is really in it, who is ready for it, and who is never going to see the pitch again. And Timothy Weah is one of those players. I was incredibly disappointed in the way he played today.
So was I.
He could look like he can be half-assed to be out there. 90%.
So was I.
The first half, I counted. Thought has only losing the ball 2 times. He lost
two
the ball
or three.
It was 5 times. Whether it was passing to a Turkey player or just letting the ball bounce or a bad touch. He is fantastic for this U.S. team, and maybe I'll chalk it up to him playing on the wrong side. Maybe, but even nothing looked right in the way he was playing.
SofaScore has it as 11 possessions lost, just for the record.
Jesus.
I like to take a balance between FotBop and SofaScore because I think they do kind of their ratings and everything very differently. But in terms of that number, they have 11 possessions lost in the dribbling stat. So,
and what's really even worse, 2 of those possessions is he's corralling the ball on the offensive side in the first half, and he's along the near side touchline. And then it's like he thinks he has time, and he just leaves the ball, I don't know what, a yard in front of him or something like that. Doesn't even get to the ball. He's not even rushing. He's not thinking quickly enough. And all of a sudden, the fullback is on him and steals the ball. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing, Timmy? Why are you nonchalanting over there? It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe. And I mean, look, I'm not saying he's got to play like his father, but look, you are the son. This is why I call him football royalty, because his father is so well known. When he played in Serie A, he played for AC Milan. Of course,
Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah, exactly, a Ballon d'Or winner, and you all of a sudden you played great in Qatar against the Welsh. You played great against England, even though you didn't score any goals in that game. You played great against Iran, even though you didn't score. And yeah, maybe you were a little off against the Dutch, because the Dutch are a damn good side. But okay, you're upset because you didn't start the last 2 games? Well, you know what? Don't cry and pout about it. Go into this game against Turkiye and prove to Pochettino why you should be starting in the next game. But no, he's like, ho hum. Oh, I got the ball. I've got time. Next thing you know, whoops, it's gone. It's all gone. And he's really,
like in the build-up to this tournament, like he played that in the friendlies. Like you can tell he was genuinely upset not being a starter anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that attitude showed in this tournament. I mean, it's not like a Gio Reyna type attitude from 2022, but I mean, like his body language looks defeated.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Really unfortunate.
I know it is. And, now, whatever time you may get now going into Bosnia, he may not even sub in anymore. He may not sub in. And I mean, Pochettino has every right to sub whoever he wants to sub in. But, if he's going to show a pouty attitude and he's going to let the Turks just take the ball off his freaking feet, or if he's going to leave that much space between him and the ball by a yard or by a foot, and they just go ahead and just, oh, well, thank you very much, I'll take it from you right now. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. At least Pepe's trying to fight. At least Reyna's trying to fight. Berhalter's. And here's the other thing I can't stand. And this is the whole U.S. men's national team fans. Oh, Berhalter's in Vancouver and MLS, while Weah's in lavishing in freaking Europe, and they're not harassing Weah for the crap he pulled tonight. Yet they go after Berhalter because they think he's screwing up, and it's like, excuse me? Maybe the Turks are turning it up and, they're edging him just a little bit. It's not that he can't handle it, just maybe they're just doing things a little bit better than he was. But I think Berhalter had a hell of a match. And if he doesn't bomb that ball in the 49th minute to make it 2-2, then what are you going to do about it? He's fighting. He's fighting out there. He wants to show that he's not a sub. He wants to show that he can start as well. And it's just, it's really a shame. I'm getting sick and tired of the same old calamity. You're going through it, Michael, with Roldan, with the Sounders.
Also, I'm feeding the fire. Half the time I'm a troll. Like, I know Cristiano Ronaldo's not a starter, nor should he ever be a starter for this national team. It's just they're so easily pressed by every little thing. You mentioned an MLS player like doing something. They're like, oh my gosh, got the pitchforks. It's hilarious. I mean, same thing with Miles Robinson. Like, I'm sure Kent has probably seen plenty of nonsense.
Probably more from Miles Robinson than Christian Roldan, if we're being honest.
Right now, yeah.
Especially with how the friendlies went leading into the World Cup. My goodness, my mentions are just full of just Miles Robinson content.
At least, Michael and I are consistent about Miles, because we know how good Miles is. From Atlanta and then going to Cincinnati, we know he's a very good center back. In a normal sense, if Miles Robinson is on the national team, I have no problems. I have no worries whatsoever. But even you can admit, this season in MLS, before coming to the World Cup, he's not had a good season as a center back this year.
No, he hasn't. I can make a million excuses for him. I mean, and I probably would.
Of course. I don't mind. I wouldn't blame you, but he's been horrible. He has.
Yeah, it just hasn't been good enough for I think the team as a whole, and I think he obviously suffered an injury, and I don't think that helped with the timing of everything. And defensively speaking, there's just, again, like it's been so many injuries with FC Cincinnati. So we'll see what the second half looks like there. But I mean, leading into the World Cup, the form was pretty atrocious.
Yes,
I think FC Cincinnati as a whole, for being honest, like from the expectations that we had and how good they were last year, defensively speaking, like it was night and day. So
yeah, exactly. And look, as much as, and I keep saying to Michael all the time, I love Tim Ream because when he got drafted by the Red Bulls, he was sensational. He only played for maybe 2 or 3 seasons before he went to England, played at Blackburn. First he went to Blackburn Rovers. Then he went to Fulham. And he's been at Fulham like all his career until he came back to MLS and he went to Charlotte. And as much as I love Tim Ream, and I'll never forget the defensive play he did against the Galaxy in a regular season match, like Buenacamdul was well off his line, and he left his net wide open. Landon Donovan, all he had to do was just tap it in, roll it harmfully into the back of the net. And here's Tim Ream on his horse, and already he's like, he's already catching up to the ball, and he just got to it before it crossed the entire goal line. Like, you can see it on YouTube, Tim Ream goal line clearance. It was sensational, phenomenal. It kept the game at 1-1. It was that great of a defensive play. And you've heard me, Michael. Look, I love Tim Ream. But sooner or later, you're going to have to say goodbye to him because he's just too old. And somehow, some way, he still finds a way to prove my ass wrong. He still finds a way to prove me wrong. And he had a great game against Paraguay. He had an amazing game against Australia. Now he's going to, he didn't play against Turkiye. He deserved the rest. It's great. And now he's going to have to prove it against Bosnia. And if he can prove it against Bosnia, and he will. And when he does make me look foolish again, I'm just going to be that's it now, isn't it? Just keep him there for the rest of his life. Even if he hits 42, I don't care. Leave him in. Until he calls it quits. I'm like, Timmy, I love you. Stop trying to prove me wrong on you, man. Stop it.
I mean, luckily the blueprint is there for who's going to take over that left center back spot.
Yes.
It's either going to be Aaron Trusty or Joe Scally.
Yes.
Both are fantastic in the 3-back system. It just kind of depends who can take it post World Cup.
Yes.
But I guess we'll have to wait and see for Nations League.
Exactly. And when that comes, it'll come very quickly. I think July. I think sometime after when the World Cup final is over, the draw will happen. And then it'll start in the new combined September-October window now. So we're going to have 4 straight weeks, two straight weeks, actually, 4 matches of international soccer that we didn't expect that we're going to get now. Now it's going to be an entire block of international break. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be exciting. But that's just amazing to watch. But other than that, Kenta, you got 3 games tomorrow night to review now. Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia. It never ends for you, does it?
Yeah, and unlike, today's matches, I'm not optimistic about 2 of the 3 teams at all. So, go figure. Iraq, brutal group for them. And I just kind of hope they can kind of take something away from the Senegal team, which should be the easiest matchup of the 3 they've had.
Yeah,
which is not saying much because they played Norway and France.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia played Cape Verde, which again, technically is their easiest matchup, but I have no confidence in Saudi Arabia. A win should send them through, but no. Respectfully, no.
but no.
Until Saudi Arabia proves me wrong that they're able to win these matches, I have no belief in this national team. Cape Verde have had a surprisingly good tournament, so maybe the one time I root against an Asian team, can I hope for the fun Cinderella story, Cape Verde. And then Iran. Iran will be an interesting one. Obviously, they drew their first 2 matches against Belgium and New Zealand. Go into the Egypt match. A win would finish them top 2, depending on how the Belgium match goes. I think there's enough goal differential there. And a draw should be enough to send them through. Even with the assumption that Belgium beat New Zealand, should be enough to potentially send them through if a couple other results, like Spain winning their match, a couple other results kind of go in their favor. I think a lot of these teams that are finishing third have the same checklist of what needs to happen for them to be able to move on as one of the top 8 teams. I think it's Spain beating Uruguay, it's Austria beating Algeria, it's Uzbekistan not losing their match. Okay, there's a combination of results there. And obviously a lot of those results will happen before Iran set foot in Seattle. I guess they're in Lumen Field. But yeah, no, I think Iran I'm very optimistic on this team. If Galinoe plays his cards right, which he never does, but if he does, then I think there's potential there for this team to surprise some teams. I think Egypt is probably going into this team into this match as heavy favorites, but I like the attacking talent that Iran have. I really do, and I refuse to count Team Melli out until they are truly out.
Yep. No, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Should be a fun one tomorrow, absolutely. As always, Kenta, we appreciate your time. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Alrighty, sounds good.
The hardest working Asian reporter on the North American side of the world.
Damn right.
I don't know about that.
Oh, sure. Don't let me butter you up. Come on now.
No. There's a lot of people over here right now, doing great work. So,
yeah, of course.
All right.
Just take your flowers, for goodness sakes. Thanks
I
a
will.
lot. All right, good. Kent Aguiwara, Area Sportsnet covering FC Cincinnati, and of course, Asian football podcast that he does. It's great to always have him on. We're not going to talk much about Tunisia and the Netherlands. We all knew the Netherlands are going to kill them 3-1. Yeah. It was really a foregone conclusion. But how about this? And we're going to go back to Group E. Ecuador somehow, some way, 2-1 winners over Germany. And even though Germany really didn't need the match, Ecuador found a way to take second place in the group and advancing to the knockout stage. That is unbelievable.
It really was. I mean, when that goal came, when Gonzalo Plata finally got that goal, Ecuador was on the front foot. They turned on the press. They were not pressing at all for most of the match. They were playing their typical defensive game, and it was working because a lot of these European teams don't know how to go up against these South American sides who will sit in deep, and that's what Ecuador does really, really well.
Yep.
But the way that Plata got in to poke that ball in away from Manuel Neuer was honestly perfection. Because literally an inch, if he would have followed through with that kick, then that would have been a no goal. Because it would have been a foul. He would have kicked Neuer in the hands. Yeah. But the way I remember watched the replays like 3 or 4 times. I was like, how did he get this off? He literally goes in, pokes and brings his foot back so quick. It's like a viper strike. The way he did that. And Plata's had himself a pretty decent tournament as well. I'm glad that he is finding his form again and looking really good. I mean, Germany, they created plenty of chances. They were bombing down the field. Leroy Sané had probably his best game of the tournament for Germany. And going into this tournament, he kind of were uncertain how he was going to do because he's getting up there in age now. He still looks like a child. He's getting up there. He is definitely not as quick as he was, but he's still fast as hell. But he's not as quick as he used to be.
Right.
But he had a really good game today. And it's just unfortunate that he couldn't finish off more of those chances.
Yeah, exactly. And my error, I'm sorry, Ivory Coast got the second one, but Ecuador does advance on the third place finish for one of the best 8 to go in there. So, 3 of the 4, Germany's finished first, Ivory Coast second, Ecuador third, and unfortunately for Curacao, last in Group E. But still, though, great run, fantastic stuff. And it's just been, that's a surprise. You got South Africa that comes out of nowhere that takes a spot, finishes second in Group A. Now it's Ecuador that takes a spot in Group E, and we still have at least we got 6 groups taken care of, 6 more to go these next 2 days, which is going to be tremendous, unbelievable.
I mean, I expected Ecuador to win this group, to be honest, going into this tournament, because knowing how Germany's been so inconsistent leading up to this. But, I mean, Germany turned it on, and I'm glad that Ecuador came alive when they did. And just it does suck, though. They did lose a pretty key player, Piero Hincapié, plays Arsenal. He's been very crucial in how they built up on the left-hand side. So he kind of plays more like a wing back as opposed to a traditional center back.
Yeah.
And they lose quite a bit of width that way. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt that.
Yeah, exactly. Should be exciting and fun when we get to tomorrow. Before we get to preview tomorrow's games, all simultaneous matches, of course. Scotland head coach, I think it's Graham Parker, I think it is. I could be wrong on his name. I can have to double check on that one real quickly. He has been a bit of a stick
Steve
in the
Clark.
mud. Steve Clark,
Clark.
that's what I meant to say. Steve Clark, yeah. Steve Clark. You know, I caught on social media from Talk Sport, the Scotland reporter, who was very disappointed in him because apparently he was being asked questions after the match, and then he just abruptly left. Like, he didn't want to talk about the match. He didn't want to talk about this. He didn't want to talk about, well, there's a slight chance. Survive, maybe, but then he just already walked.
I mean, that's
very rude about it. You know, that man. Ryan Gold, who is over with Morgan for these, he was forced to call up.
technical difficulties.
Use, you're not. Ryan Gold, who's like doing excellent work with San Diego, with still kind of coming back from his injury from last season. I mean, you could have brought him in, and he doesn't. And then the way he treats the reporters, it's like, yeah, get away.
I mean, Steve Clark is notoriously just a grumpy guy in general. That's just it's kind of his shtick. I mean, it's getting old now. I mean, he's been Scotland manager since 2019.
If I was the
He's
Scottish,
he's been there for a long time. Like, I think he's getting close to maybe leaving the team, and it's just, I mean, probably after this kind of shambolic performance, and just the kind of the way he's kind of acting towards players, and like I said, towards the reporter, I think we can probably expect maybe a manager change.
I know,
going to the next Euros.
just go home and just go back and just retire. I
mean, at this rate, he should, but
challenged by a lot of Scottish fans. I have a friend that's Scottish himself, so
yeah. I want to go back to, you were kind of lagging out a little bit there.
Right off into the sunset.
Morgan.
Uh-huh.
I was surprised he didn't call him up because Lewis Morgan has been quite good in MLS. And the Ryan Gold bit, I mean, I would have been cool to see him make this World Cup squad, but he's not even ready to play for the Whitecaps yet. Like, he's on the right path to restarting on, I think that was it July 18th when the World Cup or when MLS starts back up. But I think their time, both those players' times has come for the Scotland national team, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. Their time, we'll see what happens, but what are we going to do? Anywho, let's go ahead and GHNI, I believe, is on the cards for tomorrow, and here we go at 3:00 Eastern, 1:00 Pacific. Stadium. And then at the same time, you'll have Senegal taking on Iraq over at BMO Field in Toronto, Fox Sports 1 and NBC Universo. At 8, Verde will be taking on Saudi Arabia at NGR Stadium. NBC on Fox and Telemundo. And then at 11:00 at night Eastern Time, 8:00 Pacific, Egypt versus Iran of Group G at Lumen Field in Seattle. Fox Sports 1 and Telemundo. And then, of course, New Zealand taking on Belgium. That'll be a torture. BC Place in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. That will be on Fox and NBC Universo. All streaming English, Fox 1, Spanish, NBC, Peacock. So, Michael, which one of those games are you looking forward to?
Norway and France, just because, I mean, narrative FC right there. Like both teams have a lot. They're playing for the first place spot, and I mean, it's two incredible strikers going at it for the Golden Boot. I mean, that should be a really fun game for any neutral. And honestly, the Egypt-Iran game, not only just for the on the field stuff, but also the off the field stuff going on with Seattle Pride happening the same day. There will be a march to the match there. The vibe's going to be immaculate. And I mean, both teams have already come out and said they're going to be trying just focusing on the football. But like, they're going to be upset, and it's funny to me that they're going to be upset about it.
I know.
I know. Like, you're coming to a country where pride is massive in every major city. Like, get over yourself.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's part of your religion or not part of your country's ethos. Just you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're not entering the pitch. They're sitting in the seats. They're just walking to the stadium. Just leave it alone. Worry about what goes on with the ball. Don't worry about what goes on in the stands or goes outside the stadium. They're not coming in after you.
No,
They're
then
not.
just secretly join the parties afterwards. It's fine.
That's it. That's it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you going to do about it? Look, this is what happens in this country. That's why this is one of the greatest countries in the world, because we allow people to do, within reason, to do what you got to do to have fun. And at the same time, if you feel that strongly of certain social, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tendencies, but social cries and social, and just to make a stand on certain things. That's why you're allowed to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You can do so without worrying about certain repercussions, and that's what's going to happen. There will be a march. There will be a pride march, whether you like it or not. You are guests in our stadium. That's what it is. You're guests in our country. You're just going to have to grin and bear it. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Something screwy always happens with these things, and you never know. It could happen that game. But other than that, Michael, another fabulous show.
It really
Great
guest.
guest.
That's a fun one. Lots of excitement.
Yep, exactly. Especially Tito. And once again, we want to congratulate these teams that qualified for the World Cup, because without the qualification process, no one would have this opportunity to be on the world stage.
I mean, and this is what we want. Like, I mean, for us, obviously, we follow these teams week in and week out, and we see them in these regional tournaments like Gold Cup and Leagues Cup. But I'm just happy that everyone else around the world gets to see what we get to see.
Exactly. And that's why we love doing this show, because we get to talk about what goes on the pitch with that one round ball, 11 players on each side trying to kill each other and trying to score the goal and take a win, or try not to take a loss. But if you have to draw, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we want to thank our guests, Tito Rodriguez of Curacao News Network, Curacao News Now. Of course, as always, Kenta Hagiwara, Michael Martinez, my co-host here from Cascadia FC. Follow him if you are a Seattle Sounders supporter, or of course, Jeremy Peterman if you are a Portland Timbers supporter, and of course, the Vancouver Whitecaps if you are a Vancouver Whitecaps supporter. Or if you just love Pacific Northwest soccer, Cascadia FC is the site for you. Once again, my name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching us tonight. We will talk to you tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye for now. And as always, please, please enjoy your football. Bye-bye.